Hello there, this is Honest Klaud. I'm Eric Elliott, and this is my guest, Austin. Austin, why don't you tell my audience who you are? They may not be privy.
Yes.
Yes.
Hello, everyone.
everyone.
My name is
My name
Austin
is Austin
SWE.
SWE.
I'm super
I'm
excited
super
to
excited
be here.
to be
Thank
here.
you,
Thank
Eric,
you,
for
Eric,
having me
for having
on.
me on.
I've seen the show before. I've seen Scotty on here before, so I'm excited to be on here. I'm a content creator on Instagram, YouTube. I also have a podcast. I've been at it for like 8 years, so that's who I am.
If anyone's wondering, yes, you can buy the Honest Klaud merch.
Hell yeah.
Jacket as well. People that will see me on SSW Network will see me wear that.
Yes.
So, before we get to the nitty gritty of ideas we're going to talk about with Star Wars, one, congratulations to SAG-AFTRA for achieving what they are rightfully due. Incredibly greedy corporations.
Yes.
Like they have to eat. I know I'm personally, have a little issue with me watching or buying anything Disney because of another situations going on in the world. Obviously, I support ceasefire. We need less people to die. I don't think that should be a controversial statement.
Right. 100%.
You were mentioning that you are one of the hosts alongside with Scotty Holiday of the Wayseekers Podcast.
Yes.
Now, am I crazy, or was like Chelsea like a host, like where they what happened?
They're onto different things now. They're not doing the podcast anymore. So going forward, it's just going to be Scotty and I. So we've been excited for what we have.
It's still fun. It's not like as if all the charisma just went away.
Right.
It's still fun. I was watching you and Scotty's video ranking the Star Wars movies, and I'm realizing more and more that sometimes Scotty's memory isn't very good when it comes to these movies.
Yeah.
Like the most glaring example was when you were talking about where you should rank Return of the Jedi. Scotty was like, "Oh yeah, what the penis slug in space."
Yeah.
And two, that was an Empire. So you gotta have an issue with the wrong movie with your complaint.
Right.
At least you go critique the right one.
Right. I noticed that in editing. I was like, that's not the right movie. And then they didn't know that it was revealed that Lincoln and Air siblings.
I caught that one. Yeah, Scotty's like, wasn't that like 2/3 of the movie? Like, no, that's pretty early on, like almost immediately after we leave Tatooine, we learned that bombshell. And we're just like, oh, wait. We just stumbled ass backwards into incest, didn't we?
Right.
But yeah, another reason I wanted to get someone on my channel again, because I had an idea, that had started festering. I don't know if festering is the right word, but you ever watch SSW Network?
I think so, yeah.
Okay. I am the crown champion of appearances. That's not like an official host.
Nice.
Nick on that channel calls me Kyle Ripken of Star Wars Network. So they brought up the idea of and this was also kind of brought into more machinations of conversation on Star Wars Twitter /X and different social medias because of what a director had said. It's like, what if the original trilogy was just remade or rebooted? And I like the idea more of like a reboot because I like the idea that you can do more stuff and it doesn't have to be like shot for shot the same.
Right.
Just with fresher faces.
Mm-hmm.
And it's kind of a scary idea to do it because like I would say sometimes to our detriment, like we hold them into such high esteem that we don't even question like, oh, that's just the way it is. Like people, like angry fans will talk forever about redoing the prequels or redoing the sequels, but original trilogy is considered like the holy trilogy.
Right. It's very sacred.
Yeah. So. Would you like to indulge me on my ideas if we were going to remake, just reboot the entire Star Wars franchise? Not soft rebooting of just like, oh, we're going to get rid of some of the cartoons and some of, the books. No, everything is being clean slate.
Yeah, it would definitely be interesting. I think that when Disney bought Star Wars, they kind of had the chance to reboot or continue. And I don't hate the idea because what intrigues me is someone coming in and using the Star Wars sandbox, and they're using it to what their interests are, the things that interest them. But at the same time, I feel like that's also possible without doing a reboot. Like we see all the different types of projects there are. Like Andor is nothing like Ahsoka. And I think that with that, you're able to have even more of people's visions. Because if they were to like reboot the original trilogy, there would still have to be a lot of similarities. And I feel like that might actually limit what someone is able to do.
Yeah,
but
if you just do those 3 movies, like if you don't decide we're going to do a whole new complete franchise, like the same intellectual property, like we still own intellectual properties of Luke, Leia, Han, and Max Rebo, like those are all intact. It's just the idea of like we had this at some point. When did we stop holding ourselves behind just trying to bring back actors or trying to make them look the same with putting CGI over a character that passed away decades ago? Like, at what point do we just have to start fresh? And I think at the point where we have done everything relatively that we can, that we know will bring in an audience. Like, even though I have, my personal things are just like, wouldn't this be cool? I want the Kidster TV show.
Right.
Like, realistically, it's going to be more of like, okay, well, obviously, Kenobi series. Like, it felt like an inevitability. Like, it was eventually going to happen. Either there's going to be a movie or a TV show, and Ewan McGregor going to come back. And Andor is like, okay, it's a really cool idea, and like obviously it's loved for a good reason of like how much to put realism into there. But like when it comes to and even like they're going to different time periods with like the Acolyte in High Republic, publishing initiative. But I think some people will think reboot and remakes are like dirty words. It's all about execution. Why you're doing it at all? And, yeah, I'm just like think about it. Like this franchise is nearing 50 years old. And the first movie is still completely canon.
Yeah.
That's kind of wild. There's only so many franchises that do that, unless if it's like a multiverse thing, like like loose interconnected timelines, like they do with Star Trek.
Right. Yeah. I don't know. I'm not like opposed to it. I remember there was a director, or was it a writer? I forget who it was that basically brought up the same idea.
Yeah, well, that's where the conversation started. It was Matthew Vaughn. He directed X-Men First Class, which I do really enjoy. And he was talking about like he loves Star Wars, and wouldn't be a crazy idea if like we just redid the originals.
Right. Yeah.
And I think it's not just a way to bring in new faces. Where like back in the 70s, there was no idea. It was just like 3 movies happened, and they were just like, that's it.
Yep.
Sorry, a holiday special. But they weren't thinking about we're going to give these characters spin-offs.
Mm-hmm.
That just wasn't in their mind. The landscape of television movies was so different back then. Like, and I would argue things have dramatically changed just in the past decade.
Right. 100%.
Yeah. So you want to hear about my fan castings for
let's hear this.
A different reboot universe. Like, like one of the big things that changed is that even though I make endless jokes about it, but Luke and Leia kissing, in this they are siblings, but they don't kiss. They know they're siblings, and Luke is an older brother. But like another thing, I'm just like, you know what? This franchise has too many white people. Insult the white people, but agents in the 70s weren't getting a lot of people of color.
Right.
Like if you think it's uneven now, like it was demonstrably
right
back then. So I was gonna have Luke and Leia be played by Native American actors.
Hell yeah.
I was gonna have Luke be played by Kiowa Joseph Gordon. You heard that name?
No.
Okay. You ever seen Dark Winds?
Yes.
Okay. You remember the intern, the new cop? In the scene? That's what I was going to play Luke.
Okay.
Like, I just saw him, and I decided, let me watch. For people that don't know, this is what he looks like. And I just saw him, and I'm just like, that's Luke energy all day.
For sure. Yeah, 100%.
And I think he can have the range. I'm sure, like it seems like every other actor is like, getting a little bit of abs and workout and learning, sword fencing. Like I can see him doing it.
100%.
In his early 30s, like why not do it? This one I think more people are aware of. That's why I didn't pull a picture. It's Amber Midthunder. She was in Prey.
Yep.
And I'm just like, oh, she's badass. Like, she really knows how to command the screen, even with real dialogue.
Yeah.
I'm just like, she would be perfect for Leia.
100%.
I think, obviously, I can't speak on behalf of someone that's passed, but I'm sure Carrie would give a cosign to that casting.
Yeah.
Yeah, like another role you got to put is another tall order is Han.
Yeah.
The person I picked for Han is Vincent Rodriguez the third, and a lot of people are like, who the hell that is, right? Like really, the only roles people might know him for is that he was in Crazy Ex-Girlfriend, and he was in the new Mortal Kombat 1 video game.
Interesting.
I saw him. I'm like, yeah, that's a Han.
Yeah.
Han face ever seen one.
Yeah, I agree.
And he's half Chinese and half Filipino. Now Vader. As far as the voice, I'm just I know there's a lot of conversation about how we should use AI, but I think it worked very well in Kenobi. And James Earl Jones said you could use it, so I think just think of it. Yeah, it's iconic.
Yeah, makes sense to me. Yeah. And with the technology that they use, it's someone like in Kenobi, Hayden Christensen still had to record the dialogue, and then they used the Reese feature to go over it. So I guess those types of AIs are horrible. It's like the ethically correct one. So I agree with you.
Yeah. Now Obi-Wan. I was like, we need a great older actor that you'll be glued to the screen every time he speaks. He could be wise, And I was like,
yes.
Christoph Waltz should play Obi-Wan Kenobi.
Nice.
I was like,
I like
it. It's not all people of color. It's like we got a really cool white hero guy. We're not just gonna make all the white guys villains. Not gonna do that.
Right.
And Lando. This is the only one that's not gonna be recast. I think Don Glover is, he like, even if you just wanted Lando to do like a joke and he just does a little singing, I'm just like, who has more just Renaissance man of singing, acting, comedy, writing, and directing? I'm just like, he can do all those things as a pickup. If someone can't show up for writing, Don Glover, you're just like, give me a second.
Incredibly useful.
I'll hack this out. But the way I think we can have the audience differentiate his Lando from Solo in the upcoming Lando series in this alternate, rebooted universe is let him have his white beard, his graying beard. Leave it in.
Oh yeah.
You're just like, it feels a little more different.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You can still have the mustache.
Uh-huh.
I mean, some would argue, isn't that Lando if there's no mustache?
Right. Part of the charm.
Now, Ian McDermott is a huge order to try to fill out.
Yeah.
But Emperor is a tall order to do. But I know this might sound weird, but stick with me. Mike
Myers.
Yeah.
Interesting.
I'm sure you know that name.
Yeah.
You're not that much different in age from me, so you probably forced your mother to watch Cat in the Hat, or you were watching Trek all the time.
Right.
And I know people are going to be like, "Oh, you Austin Powers, Emperor."
Yeah.
Think about how many characters he plays in Austin Powers. He's like 5 characters every movie.
Mm-hmm.
And you ever seen Glorious Bastards?
No. Haven't, unfortunately.
Mike Myers is in this movie, and like, my brain can't comprehend that's him in this role. He just plays like this, like, very pompish British general who tells Michael Fassbender like where he needs to go to take out the Nazis, and like, he just completely flips on that. Like, he's still doing like a little bit of goofiness, but he's like totally changed. Like, he's actually goofy in a dramatic role because of like how pompous he is. And I'm just like, if he can do that, I feel like he could do the voice. And like, if he can do that and hold it for it long enough, I was like, you know what? It's not that bad. Like, I know he has a lot of silly in his dialogue, but don't sleep on Mike Myers.
Right. Yeah, I think you could do it.
Now, I also picked out directors and a composer. Because obviously, we love John Williams, but he's very old.
Yeah.
Knock on wood. Like, by the time these hypothetical movies could be out, he could pass, and we're gonna pour out a 40 ounce.
Right.
Like, all the greatness he has done, not just in Star Wars, but Indiana Jones and Superman and Jurassic Park. Like, he, is decorated for a reason.
Yep.
But I was just like, let's get someone a little younger. Yeah, I'm not gonna get someone. I didn't pick someone baby faced. I didn't get Michael Giacchino. I think he's doing way too much. He's like the hit boy of
Right.
He's everywhere.
Yeah.
But I want to get Joe Hisaishi. Now, that name might not ring a bell, but the movies he's done composing for probably do. Spirited Away, Princess Mononoke, Ponyo, basically anything associated with the Ghibli brands. He's done the movie for. And I listened to how good Princess Mononoke's music is without the movie, and I'm just he can do all emotions.
Right.
And does it wonderfully. He knows how to come up with, original construction.
Right.
So you tell him to do leitmotifs. That's easy to him. Second nature.
Mm-hmm.
Do you have any comments or concerns about my fan castings or picks so far?
No, I think that's good. I think that's a great pick for the composer because I feel like Star Wars and Studio Ghibli they're sometimes inspired by each other, and so I think that's a great pick for a composer. Music would fit greatly in the Star Wars. So.
Yeah, and there's a lot of crossover audience between, your more. I want to say artsy because, let's be honest, some anime is not for the mainstream. It's not winning awards, but the more artsy anime, even the gritty works with intelligibility, like your Ghost in the Shells and your Kira's, have a lot of crossover audience with Star Wars. Right. And I've mentioned before that Star Wars actually saved the anime industry back in the 70s with renewed interest in sci-fi, and then Spaceship Battle Yamamoto was a success again.
Right.
But we gotta get to directors.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, we need directors with flair that have their own unique looks to how they direct things. I was like, okay, so for our New Hope equivalent, whatever that subtitle is going to be, it's going to get Daniel Kwan.
Okay.
Who did Everything Everywhere All at Once.
Right. Now, would you want both? Daniels or just Daniel Kwan?
We can throw both Daniels in there.
Hell yeah.
We can get great products in, our Winter Soldier, in our Infinity War, in Endgame, with two directors. But, as long as they aren't fighting, it's probably going to be pretty good. You can tell when a directing duo has great chemistry.
Right.
Our Empire equivalent, I want to be directed by Alejandro Inarritu, who directed Revenant.
Okay.
You can work with muted colors, but still somehow make it vibrant at the same time. He can do strong intensity. You need a little bit of that darkness because it's a dark chapter film. And last one for Return of the Jedi equivalent, we have Antoine Fuqua.
Okay.
Who back in the day did Training Day, but more recently did Magnificent Seven. I know a lot of people are kind of, about Magnificent Seven, but you can't tell me that movie isn't gorgeous to look at.
Right. Yeah. 100%.
He knows how to do a lot with little.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, I think thank you. I think he gives a little bit of levity to his look, even though it's very artsy, but it feels fun.
Mm-hmm.
And Return of the Jedi, encompasses a lot of fun, a lot of campy elements.
Right.
I think he would work well with that. Is there any person that you just either you would have worry about them being picked, or maybe you want to pick someone different of anyone I said?
I don't know if I'm necessarily worried about any of them. I think those are all great picks.
Yeah. And the thing that's not going to happen, are you worried?
I don't know. Like, this cannot happen. No, but I agree with all those picks. I think that you picked a great bunch of people that bring a unique vision, which is what you would need in this reboot. Because for me, like, whenever somebody asks, what director do you want to see do Star Wars? I'm always like, Christopher Nolan, maybe. Like, I don't know. So it's like basic answers. So you came up with some pretty deep cuts.
There's no way I was going to pick all these names without Wikipedia.
Right.
There's no way. Is there anything you want to pursue more with, your channel?
Like what I'm trying to do with my channel?
Yeah.
I'm trying to get more into doing video essays just about things that I like. Star Wars is a huge part of that, but there's also other things that I would like to talk about. But I also want someone to watch my video and be able to apply it to their life. So, like, I have these long video essays, documentaries about like the rise of Grogu, things like that. I want people to watch my videos and take something away that they can apply to their real life. I just want people to be able to feel something, and it's not just like useless information. I want it to be the average person can take this lesson and learn something, apply it to their lives. And so all the topics I talk about is always going to be like a deeper meaning to it. But yeah, it's funny that you asked that because I have been trying to rework what I do with my channel, and like I want to talk about Star Wars, but I want it to be more. There's a million Star Wars YouTubers out there. What makes my content stand out compared to the millions of others?
Like, obviously been just doing the one-on-one episode. The video I wanted to eventually do is like after I finish my fan script for Rise of Skywalker, which I've retitled.
Nice.
I want to do a video on it where I do script read. I'm going to be able, people can see it themselves. Include, my own drawings with it, and I told my dad, I was like, if that gets 10,000 followers, I won. I'm like, I want to be huge off of this. And, hopefully I can also expand, my reach after I finish my Jar Jar fan novel.
Hell yeah.
I'm going through his entire life.
Right.
There's also a shout out to a podcast that you definitely have heard of, but you'll have to wait and see.
Nice.
It's interesting to think of like what's going to reach more people, but also not like I'm selling my soul.
Right.
It can be, because like I'm sure I would have twice as many people following if like I had laser eyes and all my thumbnails.
Right.
I probably would. Ultimately, this is more important that I'm having fun than I'm trying to make money off of it. Right.
Yeah, it's finding that perfect balance of doing things that you want to do, but also realizing that sometimes the algorithm isn't going to agree with what you want to do. And sometimes it's just about figuring out how can you do what you want to do, but also please the algorithm. And there's certain ways, like obviously with Star Wars, like when Ahsoka comes out, Ahsoka's going to be popular. It's important you make an Ahsoka video because people are going to be searching out Ahsoka videos. If you do that later on, the later you wait, the less interest there is. But there's ways to trick the algorithm where it's like, instead of just being like Ahsoka review, have the title be some crazy outrageous take. Like Ahsoka was absolutely amazing, and it reached gave me a hug, and I absolutely loved it. And people will see that title and be like, "Huh? That's weird. I'm gonna click that."
Even though your video with Scotty released today, I don't know before it's pretty chill. Like I peeped out your thumbnail and it has like Jar Jar like on the toaster. Like I was like, right there.
Yep. I mean, and I put Revenge of the Sith last.
Like, do you know Buck O'Brien?
Yeah.
Like I took something he said on an episode. I was just like, I'm gonna make a thumbnail based off it. And anyone has issue with it, he's saying it.
Right.
Like his assertion is that Zori Bliss is a hate crime.
Oh.
Because he's like, well, clearly they made her so the audience says, oh, post-straight.
Right. I agree with Buck then. Yeah. That doesn't hate crime.
I said, but by that equivalent, then we should also say that Jaina is like unintentionally part of another hate crime.
Right.
It's like he has to pine for the white girl and scream her name out. Like,
right.
Introduced to two heroic, beautiful women, Rose and Jaina. He's like, nope.
Right.
You just gotta kiss one of them, and he's like, it didn't even seem like he tried to ask about it. He's just like, you know what, I'm just no.
Right.
More toxic people have said like Rose being inappropriate in that situation, but not like it was like violent. Like,
right.
She grabbed his head.
Right.
And that's enough of that, little rant.
I agree with Buck though.
So, if you're going to be on a channel, you should be introduced to things I talk about. Are you aware of my Zillow Ray theory?
Which theory?
My Zillow Ray theory.
No.
Okay. So, did you watch Bad Batch Season 2?
Yeah.
Okay. So, do you remember where Mount Tantus takes away the Zilla Beast that grew larger by absorbing electricity? Well, Mount Tantus is the same place that will lead to the cloning of the Emperor.
Right.
And we see in Rise of Skywalker that he become younger and more powerful when he absorbs electricity. So, and we also see in the Clone Wars, I think it's like season 2, that he has a deep interest in this nearly indestructible lizard. Right. So, is the cloned Emperor? Has he been experimented to have part Zillow DNA?
Oh.
So if that's the case, that means that Rey, who is blood related to this man,
right,
is part Zillow.
Yeah, especially because her dad is a clone of Palpatine. So if the clone of Palpatine has Zillow Beast in it, then there you go. Yeah. I think so because I mean I think like with the Mandalorian and everything, they've shown that Palpatine is like a Frankenstein version of so many things. I mean, season 3 makes it weird because it's like, was all that contributing to Moff Gideon's clones? I don't necessarily agree with that. But like when we saw like Grogu and stuff getting tested on, and we see what looks like Snoke in a tube, or it could be Palpatine. I think that provides a lot of validity to your theory that he's like a hodgepodge version of so many creatures, including a Zillow Beast.
Side note about season 3 of Mandalorian. I'm not, someone that rails against it, but I do have my gripes. And my biggest gripe is with Din. I think his character meanders. I don't think he really changes.
Yeah. And it feels like the story that they were going for before, it feels like something changed. Because I just feel like from season 1 and 2, it felt like the whole point was that he was supposed to like takes off his helmet and he kind of learns that maybe there's more to what he was thinking. But then season 3 is like, no, they were right all along. And it's totally okay. And Benjamin actually shouldn't be taking his mask off.
Yeah.
And
it seems like at one point he was saying, trying to become a father and, dealing with remnants of the empire. But he was also dealing with ideas like, you were raised by a cult, and like maybe what you believed is like kind of ridiculous, and maybe you should just do it. Right. But then they seem kind of backpedal. It's like, actually, cults, who cares? They're your family.
Right.
It's kind of like the antithesis of like the idea of like Last Jedi. It's just like Rey cuts off this man, even though she cares about him because of how toxic and like how much he lies. But Mandalorian is just like, whatever, bro.
Yeah.
Like, I love my family, but some family members, it's healthy to confront them about what they do. And sometimes it's can be healthy if they're really toxic to just separate yourself from them for a bit. Like, just because we're blood, it doesn't mean I have to excuse everything you do.
Right.
In the case of Din, just because you adopted me doesn't mean I have to like adhere to everything you said. Like, if the armor said, you know what, genocide's cool, then like, like, I don't know, maybe she has a point.
Right.
The character would be.
Yeah. And speaking of the armor, it's so weird because I feel like she's like the biggest sign that something changed, because season 1 and 2 they frame her in such a way where it's like she's up to something weird. And even parts of season 3 it felt like that by the end of it, when she was like perfectly normal, like that was kind of a shocker. That was like a revelation of like, oh yeah, she's normal. It's like, oh, okay. Guess she's not evil.
There's a lot of interesting setup, which we're going to pay off.
Yeah.
That being said, I still enjoyed the season. I kind of thought, what was it? Past Vizsla's death was just kind of bad.
Yeah.
I didn't care that much. Because the last thing he did before that was be an idiot with a shaky knife.
Right.
I'm too thrilled about just Gideon just having clones and now they're dead. Like, okay.
With one button.
And people are like, was that Gideon a clone? Because he doesn't have the mustache. I'm like, I don't give a shit.
Right. No, I agree.
I don't care.
Yeah. To me, that whole ending, it just felt like they were like, okay, we kind of just need to wrap up the Moff Gideon thing because in Ahsoka, Thrawn's going to be coming in, and he's going to be the main villain of the Mandoverse. And so to me, it just felt like they were just like, we just need to wrap it up. And all it took was one press of a button.
And season 2 Daredevil like issues, like they were trying to wrap it up so quickly. Like the last 2 episodes are just like breakneck of just plot points. But like everything else was like really good, and then like they're still good, but just clunky.
Right.
Yeah. Anyway, back to Zilla Ray. Oh, we go, big tangent. I point to things in the sequel trilogy to say, well, maybe she is part lizard. Because in Last Jedi, she gets a really bad burn mark on her arm, and next movie it's gone. And some detractors say, well, doesn't the armband cover it? No, it doesn't. It's in the wrong section.
It doesn't. Yep.
It's right here. The armband's right here.
I remember pointing that out back in the day when people were like, you're being nitpicky. I was like, no, because it's a thing that happens because in The Force Awakens, Kylo Ren's scar was like down his nose. And then in Last Jedi, it's moved to like where Anakin's scar is. So, was like, I don't think I'm crazy to point that out. So I'm glad to hear someone say that 4 years later.
In this way, I'm able to fit in a retcon to explain it. Kylo, I'm just like, skin graft, I don't know.
Right.
The best thing I got. You know, lizards are known for doing very fast healing.
Mm-hmm.
You clip off part of his tail and it will grow back quickly.
Yep.
She's able to calm the vexed snake.
Mm-hmm.
And I say that's lizard recognized lizard.
For sure.
In the first word, not to laugh at that. We also have in Red Skywalker when she sees the evil version of herself.
Mm-hmm.
She has sharp teeth.
Yeah.
Now, this is a theory that I won't be upset if it doesn't happen. If in the Rey Solo movie, it doesn't happen, I'm not gonna cry. If she doesn't curl up on a rock with a lamp, I'll be I will be able to sleep fine at night.
Right. I still think we should start the petition, though.
The petition. How many signatures?
I think we get 10,000 easy.
I have another conspiracy. This one I don't believe. I just think
okay.
Sometimes you just want to have a little fun.
Right.
Are you familiar with a Mutt Snoke conspiracy?
Mutts? No.
Okay, you've seen King of the Crystal Skull, right?
Mm-hmm.
We had, Shia LaBeouf,
right,
and, saying, "Calm it down, old man." Yes, Greaser Snoke.
Mm-hmm.
Now, let me explain, okay? Because you're probably like saying, "What the fuck is wrong with you, Eric? How do you make this leap?" I got you, okay? So, the main characters in that movie, in Indiana Jones, just leave Akator after seeing aliens leave and seemingly don't go back. You're just like,
right.
That was an adventure.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes Mutt would go back. And I was thinking that he would take like a chunk of the painted walls with the Akator creatures. And either he gets abducted there or he gets abducted, like maybe he takes that trinket to Vietnam, he gets abducted, fight Viet Cong or whatever. And then he's transported through the dimension on the mothership, right? And they start experimenting on him by the Akator creatures to look more like him. He becomes all gray and lanky.
Right.
They put a cybernetic implant into his brain, giving him a scar, so it tap into his frustration of not having that father figure he wanted this whole time. So
right.
More pickled Snokes. And when he meets Kylo, he's living vicariously through him. He wants him to harm Han Solo because he's like, my dad looks just like your dad, and I want him to be eradicated.
Oh my god. I love that.
I told Jerry about this wackadoo conspiracy that came to mind, and he says, I kind of want him to call that, our Mutt Snoke to call the Emperor Daddy-O, and to try to comb his non-existent hairs with a comb dipped in Pepsi, like a greaser does.
Right.
I told him that Snoke kind of looks like if you made a clay model of hairs before, but it fell on the carpet, like really low.
I see that.
So this is completely bonkers. I don't believe it. It was too hilarious to just let float away. Never not bring up on more than one channel.
Right. No, I love that. I love a good unhinged theory because I got into Star Wars. It was reintroduced with The Force Awakens. And we all remember the crazy theories back then. So I almost feel like it's in my Star Wars DNA to see these crazy theories. Like, back in the day, I was convinced that this Mace Windu is Supreme Leader Snoke theory. I was like, that has some merit. They were clearly connecting the dots here. Obviously, that was not the case, but 8 years ago, I would have put money on it.
Someone said, I was drinking gasoline after this, and that I fell into, the whole of connecting Indiana Jones with Star Wars.
Right.
Maybe next time when you watch Dial of Destiny, you won't feel so bad. Indiana Jones, saying that, I wish he didn't enlist. Well, maybe that was the one thing that will lead to the galaxy uprising against, the First Order.
Right.
Which just kind of gets dropped in our laps right now. They're here and they get defeated in one day. But this is a conversation for another day. Talk about taking an L.
Right.
Is there anything you want to ask me, about my channel and, the craziness that ensues about some of the things I talked about, including, Luke and Leia?
So what is your take on the Rise of Skywalker? Do you like it? Love it? Hate it?
I like it. I have fun.
Mm-hmm.
I have huge caveats with the writing.
Right.
I don't think Rey needed to be related to anyone important, especially Emperor. You have to have books explain what the fuck is going on there. You have people scratching heads like, who did Palpatine smash?
Right.
Like, what was it? Eric Boss did a whole video on it.
Right. Scotty and I were talking about that. Like, the movie does not make it clear what actually happened. That until the novel came out, everyone was like, Palpatine fucks. Like, that's crazy.
I think one planet could have been cut out.
Which one?
Makes sense. There's a lot of cool stuff.
Right.
In both of those spots. But I think it'll be more streamlined, and it won't feel like. I feel like I can say this because I've been diagnosed with it, but the movie has ADHD.
Mm-hmm. Oh, 100%.
I think Rose could have done more.
Right. Wrote her out.
I told her, like, my mom hasn't watched Rise of Skywalker, but I told her that she had to look at schematics and stay on the planet. And my mom said, "Oh, so she had to wash her hair."
Right.
There's a lot of things I would change, but at the same time, Han talking to Ben hits me.
Mm-hmm.
Leia saying, "Don't be afraid of who you are," to Rey is like, I wish that would have been a little longer, but I love that. I think they're right at the point where they can make it completely flawless.
Mm-hmm.
It's just not even there at all. But it's impressive.
Mm-hmm.
That's a tight spot to be in. I don't envy J.J. Abrams and everyone else in that spot.
Right.
You know what's great about that movie?
What?
One of the things I just said. Post Scarf Game is absolutely he is dripping.
Yeah. That movie, I really like the costumes. Except maybe with Rey, I have a problem with her whole costume and her hair. Just because. Yeah. So here's my thing.
I love the bright white of her
Like
outfit.
aesthetically, it's a good costume. But my thing is that in Star Wars, costumes are very symbolic. You see in Return of the Jedi, Luke Skywalker's wearing all black. It's revealed in the end when it comes down that actually it was gray underneath. He had light underneath him the whole time. And it's like really symbolic. Right. Yeah. And so with The Last Jedi, it was a very intentional decision to put her in darker robes and put her hair down out of the three buns because she's had that three bun hairstyle her entire life because she thinks that if she doesn't dress the same, doesn't have the same hair, her parents aren't going to find her on Jakku.
Having her hair like that, it's more mature.
Mm-hmm.
The hairstyle,
that's
more like I don't want to insult anyone that has a hairstyle, but it's a little more childish.
Right. And so the Last Jedi, she kind of overcomes this when she's taking her first steps into the larger world. She kind of gets over that. Her past life on Jakku is like embracing her future as a Jedi. She's going through this stuff with Kylo. So her hair's down now. She's changed. Her costume's different. And then in the Rise of Skywalker, it's like we're gonna give her the same exact hair. We're gonna give her the same exact costume, but it's just white now. And to me, that feels like obviously the character doesn't regress, but that thematic element regresses, where it's like Rey just goes back to where she was, and they do this with multiple things. Like Kylo destroying his helmet is extremely symbolic, and then they just bring it back. Like, what the hell, man?
I feel like they try to solve that with like two different lines. It's just like quick little dialogue. Just like you're hiding behind it again.
Right.
And the conversation between the I guess Final Order, but definitely First Order, is saying, "Oh, like how do you feel about the mask?" It's like I like it.
Right.
And it's like all they do. I mean, somehow they're saying this while there's just a severed head on the table. Like that's a
right.
But yeah, like I think with the white, they're trying to say, "Oh, she's good," just unequivocally.
Right.
But obviously, she has struggled with her anger because she wants to protect people, and like that's the same fight that Luke had in Last Jedi. Like we hear about how he contemplated, the situation of like, would you kill Hitler as a baby? But it's Kylo, and he feels terrible about that whole situation. And none of that. He's wearing all white.
Right.
They would have been in the same predicament. It's a little awkward. Like aesthetically, I think it's super awesome. Like in my script, she wears blue. Blue is associated with good and peace, but it's also a dark color.
I don't necessarily hate the white. Like I think that she would look fine in white. It's just that it's the same exact costume as the Force Awakens. It's just white.
Yeah.
So it's like it's basically her scavenger gear still, just a different color.
And there's also the concept of like, did we pick white as our clothing pick because like it represents like a sense of purity?
Like
the female character than the male character.
Right. Yeah, I was reading that apparently one of the big inspirations was Leia. Like Leia and A New Hope, trying to give that same vibe. The fact she has the hood. But
then you hook her up with the buns.
Right.
You don't need the headphone ones.
Just something.
Maybe give her some braids. Maybe don't give her cornrows. That might be a little. That would be funny though. That would be really funny. I would be simultaneously disappointed but proud as hell. I got other thoughts, but like I think we want to slowly wrap up our conversation.
Right. Yeah, the whole reason I asked was just obviously honest to Klaud.
I got the Rise of Skywalker, glut shido.
Right.
He's just so weird to me. Like he's a pilot with no arms.
Right.
He has like tendrils. He looks like some kind of root vegetable.
Right.
And then we saw another creature of his alien, another member of his alien race in the Survivor game.
Yep.
And I lost my shit.
Yeah.
I was so excited to see Guido or Gito, however you pronounce it. It was one of my Glut Shidos from early episode. Now, the Glut Shido I have today is also a sequel show character, and it is an alien. Are you familiar with the character of Jat?
Jat.
Yes.
I don't think so.
Does this character look familiar to you?
No. Okay.
You might recognize him better in his trio. Well, I'm sorry. I keep saying he. We don't know if it's he, she, or they. I'm just going to say Jat.
Jet.
I'm sorry if I misgendered this musician alien.
So from Canto Bite.
Yes. Okay. So, people that don't know, Jat was a Palandag musician. Like many of their race, they are naturally musically powerful because of their exo-lungs. Which, based on the image, I assume that's on top of their head. Jat was the lead Finop horn player at the Canto Bite Casino with two other players who are named Duz and Hex. Now, I've been able to figure out which one's which.
Nice.
So, the one closest to us in this image, that's Jat. One in the center, that's a Hex, and the last one is Duz. And I was able to figure this out by that the one that is the leader of the band most likely would have a slightly different outfit. And that's what Jat has. There's like kind of a silk inside of the robe.
Right.
I was able to figure out her Hex, and I think her Hex is probably the youngest. They kind of has more of a juvenile look, even though they look weird as shit.
Right.
They look like some kind of malnourished squids.
Right.
Their head is deflated. I'm like, okay, so I'm going to catch up and I can see which one's which. The last one's just the last one. It doesn't really look different from the first. But it doesn't have the silk gold inlay of the robes.
Right.
Now, if you want to know anything about Fanath horns, because he doesn't.
Right. Of course.
Fanath horns are wooden instruments with gas bags at the end of their cylindrical tubes.
Interesting.
Now, if you're wondering, did we get more information about these characters in like the Canto Bite book? Maybe there's a side story. Maybe there's a mention of them. No.
No.
All we know is that they're musicians and what they are as aliens, and they're a trio of musicians.
Right.
How do you feel about Jat and the crew?
They look cool. To me, it looks like a mix of like a Mon calamari. What's Cloakin species called? I can't remember. A mix of a bunch of different species, which is interesting.
I think their head looks very fungal. It also has kind of cracks that you would see in like artisan bread, and it took me a while to realize they have eyes. It just it's like almost fully blacked out, like dog eyes, like deep in the crevice.
Right.
To all of the tubularness of their mouths. It doesn't have like vine fingers.
Yeah.
I have no idea what it looks underneath that robe. Don't ask me about the genitalia. I don't know. I don't know how many legs they have.
Right.
Be more tentacles.
Spider legs.
Yeah. For all I know, it could be like a silent tornado, like you would see in like the Tasmanian Devil. We don't know.
Right. These guys.
More exploration of Jat or maybe their alien race.
Yeah. I'm always down. And I think that these three are important characters because I don't know if you listened to the Last Jedi soundtrack, but they have a Canto Bite theme that's part of like if you were on Canto Bite, you would hear that music same way you would hear like the Mos Eisley music. So I'm assuming that those three played the song. So shout out to them because the Canto Bite theme is fire.
I would say there's probably other musicians that we didn't see.
Right.
They're just basically the horn section.
Yeah.
See, like I don't need access, but you know who Alex Stamen is.
Yeah.
He frequently asks his guests, what character do you think they'd be the biggest fan of?
Baze Malebus. 100%.
I wish he had more to do. It's like my biggest issue with him because like when he calls Jen his sister, it just seems out of nowhere.
Right. Yeah.
Like there was like scenes missing where they connect in some way.
Right.
Of course, we may never get the deleted scenes or the alternate version of that movie.
Right. Well, I was talking to
like the missing Wu-Tang albums.
Right. Well, I was talking to Scotty about this, and I think with the Rogue One characters, like with all of them, besides maybe Jen, you can look at them and be like, oh, wow, like there's so much that you can do with that character. I want to see so much more of these characters. They're obviously they seem very complex. Like Cassian Andor is so complex that they have one of the most sophisticated Star Wars of all time centering around him. So the thing is, like, all these characters obviously offer something like that. And to me, that makes the movie so much better because when they all die at the end, it makes it that much more impactful. Of like, wait, they can't die yet. I wanted more from that guy, but you can't, and that's how death works in the real world too. It's over. Like, yeah, there's so much more, but it's done. And so I always love that aspect of Rogue One, and that's my little defense or cope of Rogue One and the characters like Baze Malebus. It's like this was intentional.
I realized I was phrasing it wrong. What Alex even asked, what character do you think you are the biggest fan of, maybe in your state? I think I may be the biggest Jap fan in my state by default because
right.
I mean, I think they are a great, character design, interesting look into a different side of Star Wars. But who else gives a shit about this character?
Right.
It might be me. And we don't even know if they can speak basic or English.
Right. Yeah. Well, I mean, that is how I feel about Baze Malebus. I don't ever see anybody really talking about him. I feel like with Rogue One, he's the character that like people bring up the least. Like, I mean, when it was coming out, like, he's the coolest one. He's the gun. Like, he was hella cool. But this day and age, like, I never see anybody mention. It's always Emily. And like Baze Malebus pretty much just exists in people's minds to uplift Shirt.
The character from that movie that I like stand a bit is like Bodhi.
Yes.
Like, I think he has a good arc.
Yeah.
I think some of the things they do with him, with
Yeah.
I feel like there's like beats missing in that like little thing of him being completely traumatized. We could have gotten like you're familiar with the recent Alien movies, like your Prometheus and Alien Resurrection. You remember they did like little videos that were not part of the movie, but they added to the lore?
I think so.
I feel like they could have done that with this movie. It's just having the situation where we just get told of like Bodhi getting in contact with Galen Erso and like defecting. I don't think you need to make it long. Just make it like a 5-minute scene.
Right.
A little tense, and you can cut that out of the movie, and like that's just like a little mini movie in itself that you can just have fun.
Right.
Oh, that was cool to have. I think that's a little too serious for Forces of Destiny.
Right.
It's not as fun. It's like a little chase on Starkiller Base, which I know that was the scene that they need to like a cartoon. That's about it for our subjects. You want to let people know your plug?
Yeah. Instagram, SWE Austin, Twitter or X, whatever. SWE Austin 0. And I do YouTube Austin SWE. And my podcast is called This is the Wayseekers.
It's a situation like if they slick back, you had to say the whole damn thing.
Right.
This is the Wayseekers Podcast.
Yeah.
I kept saying Wayseekers. I almost accidentally said Wayfinder one time.
Wayfinder.
All right. Well, I'm glad you were able to come through.
Yes, me too.
Stay tuned, audience, for who I have next. I'm glad I was able to get my big notes on what if Visual Trilogy was redone. Have a good day, and as Honest Klaud and Eric Elliott, be respected, we love you.